They sat on the mats they had brought in the shade of the trees by the lake. Across the lake, they saw other families laughing happily while talking about something, but they didn't hear a word. There seemed to be some knights standing guard in the area, but they were quite far away, so it seemed unlikely that they would hear their conversation. I felt strange when you spoke to me formally. It was awkward and I was worried that I would feel embarrassed if you continued speaking to me formally. Winfred spoke first, laughing. In principle, it was correct for Princess Isla to use formal language with him, but since they had been speaking comfortably since their first meeting, hearing her use formal language felt awkward. It also seemed that their relationship had grown apart. You have to be careful, because there could be people who he has planted on you. That's all. Isla shrugged. In fact, it's not as if she and Winfred's relationship became awkward just because they haven't seen each other in a while. Although she was embarrassed to say it out loud, Isla thought about it anyway. It would be a little awkward if the world found out he was talking to the crown prince, but he was scared and didn't want to hurt Winfred. Because he was Isla's only friend. I see. You did it so naturally. It was like we met for the first time. I felt so uncomfortable that I couldn't do it. I was worried that they would find out because of me. Winfred touched the back of her neck awkwardly. Isn't it because you were honest? I think that someone honest who doesn't know how to hide things is much better than someone used to lying. Maybe it's because I'm not honest, but honest people seem more impressive. Isla spoke with a somewhat lonely expression. He meant it. A life full of deceit, with endless lies to tell. Living like this, he liked honest and simple people like Winfred and Lisa. It is also true that Winfred comforted her a lot in those difficult moments. Seeing her sad face, Winfred suddenly took her hand and said, "It was an inevitable situation. Your lies were something you had to say to survive. You're not the bad one. Whoever forced you to lie is the bad one. You're not bad." At those words, Isla felt a tightness in her chest. Would it really be true? Was she really not that bad? Before returning, he committed an unforgivable sin. Even if Byron had deceived her, he had entered the dukedom with bad intentions. She lied and pretended to be a princess, even though she didn't believe it. And in the end, he committed a terrible act that betrayed his family's ancestry. He killed his biological father, Roderick, with his own hands. Now, Winfred told her lovingly, "You're not bad," but she wondered if he would say the same thing when he found out everything she's done. "If you knew all my mistakes, you wouldn't say those things." At Isla's self-deprecating words, Winfred squeezed her hand harder. "No. I will tell you that what you did was not wrong. I truly believe it, and even if you did something really bad, I'll be on your side. We are friends." Isla gave a breathy laugh, although she didn't realize it. He wanted to believe that those words of trust, those words of being on his side, were sincere. His words were that even if everyone criticized her, he would be on her side. Do you really believe that? What do you base that on? But his words came out strongly, contrary to his heart. Standing before Winfred, he couldn't understand why his heart and mouth acted so indifferently. "You saved me. You didn't even know I was the crown prince, and you gave yourself to save me, even though we were complete strangers. Because of you, I trust you." A girl who didn't mind rolling around on the floor and risking her identity being revealed to save someone who would otherwise pass her by. I thought a girl like that couldn't be bad. Thank you. Isla looked at Winfred with red eyes, as if she were on the verge of tears, and said, "Thank you for trusting me." And in that moment, he understood his feelings again. He loved Winfred's kindness. Yeah. Every time he squeezed her hand tightly and told her he trusted her, Winfred's face would flush at Isla's words of gratitude, and he would let go of her. They looked at the lake in silence for a moment. Like the sparkles on the calm ripples of the lake, a brilliant light seemed to shine in their hearts. After a while, Winfred spoke in a low voice. Are you okay? I was very worried after hearing your story. Yeah. I'm fine. Thank you for worrying about me. I'm really fine now. Isla beamed and responded, then brought up the topic that had intrigued her. Did you arrive? Did you get home safely? I'm worried about how you are. It's been a while since I separated from Scott and Debbie. I've wanted to check its safety several times, but I've been too afraid of things going wrong to do so. Yes, of course. They seemed like very good people. They seemed very worried about you, so I told them I had found your birth parents and they were as happy as if they were their own. I'm so glad you're safe. They asked me how long they would have to stay there. I thought they would have to stay there until they caught him, so I told them they would have to stay a while longer. Winfred, who had said this, looked at Isla with a trembling face. He said that because he had something to ask, but it was difficult to bring it up, but Isla, misinterpreting that he was expecting praise, smiled happily and praised him. Well done. Tell them that I will definitely come visit them when everything is ready. Huh. Winfred nodded with a shy smile. He wasn't expecting praise, but he was glad to hear Ajla say he had done well. And then, thinking that maybe he would be okay now, he carefully brought up the question that was on his mind. Excuse me, Isla. Can I ask you something? What is it? You know, when you asked me to keep them safe, it was before I met them. They had been living in the same place for decades, without interacting with anyone else. How did you know beforehand? At Winfred's innocent question, Isla's expression hardened as if frozen. She was so desperate to save Scott and Debbie that she couldn't think of anything else, and that's how she ended up with a contradiction. So, that's... When Isla was too nervous to respond, he blinked slowly. Is it difficult to answer? If that was the case, Winfred had no intention of pressuring her to answer. He was genuinely curious, but even though they were close friends, he had no intention of forcing her to confess something she didn't want to say. But Isla closed her eyes tightly, as if in pain. Later, I'll tell you. I promised I would tell my parents first. And I'll tell you later. How could she not tell Winfred the truth when he had told her he would be on her side no matter what she did? I couldn't hide it. I didn't want to. He was about to say that if it was so difficult, he didn't have to talk, but he swallowed his words when he saw Isla's desperation. Did you promise? Yeah. At Isla's firm promise, Winfred smiled brightly and looked out at the lake. He felt that something pleasant awaited him in the future. Well, I have something for you. Isla, who was looking in the same direction, suddenly stood up from her seat as if something came to her mind and grabbed the small bag she had left hanging on her horse. What is it? This is your gift. He said it was a gift, but his gruff expression seemed to say, I picked it up. Winfred, bewildered, opened the bag Isla had offered him. Inside was a necklace of yellow and transparent gemstones. Hey, this is... It looked familiar, and it was a stone very similar to the ones he had seen in Selkof's souvenir shop. He looked at the necklace with wide eyes. That's right, I bought it in that store in Selkof. I thought it would look good on you. Well, if you don't like it, throw it away. Oh no. I like it a lot. Winfred shook her head vigorously and shouted, It's not that I don't like it. It's just that you bought it because you thought it would look good on me, and you've kept it so lovingly ever since. How could I not like it? So, you... Isla stared at him blankly and spoke. Winfred looked bewildered, as if he didn't understand anything. That? You bought me 2 rings then, right? Do I really have to say this with my own eyes? Isla glared at him. Oh, that. You didn't lose it, did you? No, it can't be. I don't have it now. I'll send it home later. Besides, there are some other things I bought and wanted to give you, he replied, rubbing the back of his neck as if embarrassed, and Isla nodded without thinking, saying that she understood. He thought lightly, how much can there be?